run the world? Girls, girls, who run the world? Girls, girls. That's the song I feel like playing right now. But I'm not going to because of our time. I wanted this particular episode to be as fast and as quick as possible. That's why I won't do that. But Beyonce sang the song, and it is Who Run the World? There's a question, and she answered in the same song. She said, girls. The book I'm going to be summarizing today is about a woman. A woman who made history in 2020-2021. And that person is Kamala Harris. Even her name is bringing some shivers to my body, because I was watching a video today of a particular guy in Nigeria, and he was like, you know, the new standard now is Kamala Harris. Like, you ask a girl, hello, can you Kamala me to the White House? Like, you know, her husband is the second gentleman in the, come on, in the United States of America. The first ever. Like, the man has to just drop his job, and that is his new career. The guy really made that video funny, and I understand very well that that's a great feat for both Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Joe Biden has always wanted to be the president of the United States of America, and finally it came to pass. Beside him is the vice president, which is Kamala Harris, the first female vice president of the United States of America. Not just that, the first black female vice president of the United States of America. Wow, this is the time to be alive. Come on. So, guys, are you guys still holding on to that? If you're going to Kamala me to the White House, if that's the standard, where you really need to listen to this, because so that you can know very well what Kamala Harris is. The title of the book is The Truths We Hold, An American Journey, written by Kamala Harris herself. This book has 3 parts, has pictures too, where you would love to really hold this book there, because I was able to really interact with her, not physically, but with the book. I was able to see, this Kamala when she was younger, this is her when she was a teenager, and all that. She really went deep into her history, and I enjoyed every single, when I say every single, I mean it, every single. And I mean every single of it. I enjoyed it. It has 3 parts, like I said earlier, and 10 chapters thereabout. But you won't even want to drop this book. For the ladies, you want to know who Kamala Harris is, how she started the journey. I'm not even surprised that she has achieved this much in her life, being the vice president of the United States of America. Because when I read the book, I was able to understand where she was coming from, the heritage she had, her parents, and I was able to understand, this woman is really going somewhere. She started a journey. I'm running ahead of myself. Let me just start. I'm already running because I'm so excited about the book anyway. Like I said earlier, the title is The Truths We Hold, An American Journey. So Kamala Harris grew up in the United States of America. The reason is because both parents met in the United States of America. Her father is a Jamaican, and her mom is from India. They're both scholars who met in the United States of America. Love happened. They got married, and their marriage gave product of 2 beautiful children. That is Kamala Harris and her sister. So both parents, our parents ended up getting a divorce, and so they decided to stay with their mom. So most of the book will talk about how she stayed with her mom. There were times when she went to Jamaica to go greet her grandparents, and there were times where she and her sister would go to India to greet her grandparents. But in all, she had a very wonderful background, a very wonderful one, because her mother had put those strong heritage things into her. And from that aspect, I would really say that this really goes out to the single mothers or the single parents. The likes of Ben Carson too was raised by a single mother, and I've met single fathers who are very, very wonderful. Single mothers too, very wonderful set of people. So this belief that fine, if you have to live with your with both of your parents, no problem. It's a beautiful thing, but it's not a disadvantage if just one of them ends up being the one who raises the child or the children. Because no matter what, a child that would be great can be great, even if it's one, or even if it's under the roof of one parent who is always around. So there's no big deal about that. That's just one thing I wanted to pick first, because I can't talk about, I said it has 10 chapters and I want this particular podcast to be very fast, so I'm not going to tell you what happened in chapter 1 or chapter 2, chapter 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I'm going to tell you just a summary of it and some great feats she achieved while in a journey as she journeyed through in life. She was once a senator. She was a senator before she became the vice president-elect, and I think she was apart from that, she was district attorney at a particular time of San Francisco, because she studied law. She's a lawyer by profession, and she was also the California's attorney general. And I would love to talk about that time when she was the district attorney for San Francisco. This woman is one woman doesn't give up. She said when she needed to, you needed votes to get to that level. And the person she was contesting against was someone, imagine someone who had gone for that position like once or twice. People knew him. So you didn't even have a chance to even get this particular position. But she went through still. And she was now a woman. Come on. Like, are you dreaming? Go sleep. You do not have any chance. But against all odds, she did it. I know that this kind of things really gives me this inspiration. Like, nothing is unachievable if I put my heart to it. May I be a woman? May I be a man? May I be a child? May I be an adult? May I be even in my age? Let's say I'm age like you're 70, 60. Nothing is actually unachievable once you put your heart to it. She went through challenges definitely before she became the district attorney, and there was this particular program she came up with. According to statistics, she realized that most go to prison. At the end of the day, they return to prison later. Most of the people they end up returning. They do something else to make them go to prison, maybe shoplifting. They end up returning for maybe drugs, And she was like, this is really serious. We need to reduce the rate of people coming to prison, because she realized that for you to feed a prisoner, and the whole thing, apart from feeding, catering for a prisoner, one prisoner in the United States of America cost $40,000. Okay, it cost let me read the particular statistics. I'm sorry, but now listen. For comparison, she said in the book, it costs $10,000 to prosecute a felony case, and another $40,000 or more to house someone for a year in the country jail. So you can imagine it costs $40,000. So if we can reduce the amount of prisoners who return to the prison, the amount of persons who get to prison, then this money we can end up using it for something else. That's what she thought. Imagine. And that is one thing I really want you to take out of this podcast, that whatever it is, whatever you find yourself doing, you can make a change. Yes, Nigeria needs change. Maybe you're listening from the United States of America. Whatever it is you're doing in your little space, maybe it's in medicine, maybe it's in fine art, maybe it's in anything. I don't know. Whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is, you can make a change. You can, just like I decided. I said, okay, some people do not want to read books. Okay, some even want to read, but they still want to listen to this of the book. Just like you want to watch a movie, you're like, oh, let me first check the movie summary or the movie review first. And that's one of the reasons I took up this task, that, okay, let me review books for people. So people can be like, oh, I want to read it. Oh, I don't want to read it according to this review, like that. Whatever it is you're doing in your space, you can make a difference. And how was she able to reduce it? I'm going to tell you. Very simple. She called the project Back on Track. That's what she called it. So I'm going to read directly from the book, because I don't want to leave any word untold. She said, so this was the first graduation of the Back on Track. So what happened was, she decided this Back on Track team, they would educate these people. They would go through programs that has to do with self-development, make so many things that they would do that, something to prepare their minds and make these people better. so that they can see life differently, because she believes that because they didn't have a better orientation about themselves, about what the world is, that's the reason they end up returning to prison. So the Back on Track team would for a particular period of time, and then there will be a graduation. So the first graduation of these inmates, this is it. Listen, she said, through the main door, a group of 18 men and women walked down the aisle to take their seats. Remember, these are the first set. With few exceptions, this was the first time in their lives they had ever worn graduation robes. Only a handful of them had ever had an occasion to which they could invite their family. An occasion that would make their loved ones cry happy tears. This celebration was hard won, and they deserved every minute of it. In the years since they started the program, each of them had at a minimum earned a GED and landed a steady job. Not just that, they had all done community service, more than 200 hours of it. The fathers among them had paid all their outstanding child support payments, and they were all drug-free. They proved they could do it, and that it could be done. In exchange for that effort and that success, we were there to keep our promise. In addition to a diploma which they were able to get for these people, the graduates would have their records cleared by a judge who was standing by. That's a great one. A number of Superior Court judges volunteered to preside over Back on Track graduations, including my friend John Dearman, a former social worker who became the longest serving judge in San Francisco's history. Another among them was Judge Thelton Henderson, an icon in the civil rights movement, who in 1963 lent his car to Martin Luther King Jr. So Dr. King could make his way to Selma after his own car broke down. That's great history, isn't it? Back on Track quickly proved its merit. After 2 years, now listen, when they organized this and these particular inmates were able to graduate, they realized that after 2 years, when these people graduate from this Back on Track program, these inmates, remember they're inmates anyway, they are prisoners, once prisoners anyway. So I keep saying anyway, no, I'm sorry. So anyway, so after 2 years, only 10% of Back on Track graduates had reoffended. Only 10%. So she was able to reduce the crime rate by 90% by that program itself, as compared with 50% for others convicted of similar crimes. So let's say 10 people committed the same crime. Let's say 5 of them came to the Back on Track program, got into the Back on Track program. Those 5, just 10% of them returned to prison. The remaining 90 never returned to prison. They were new men and women. But their other half, the remaining 5, who did not come for the Back on Track, who did not engage in the Back on Track program, guess what? 50% of them returned to prison. So you can see, just by that little project, she was able to do what? She was able to affect people. So I don't care whatever it is, even if you don't have to be the district attorney like Kamala Harris was to carry out this kind of project. You just have to be the class, maybe the class captain of your class. You just have to be a Nigerian. You just have to be a human being to carry out any project it is. And I see so many of it around that you see getting pads for children, because some people cannot actually afford pad. It sounds funny, but it's the truth. Some girls cannot afford pad. Yes, I once met a particular girl, and it was cloth in this 21st century that her mother was teaching her to use because they could not even afford it. So imagine those kind of children can have access to pads. Come on, how beautiful it is. So it doesn't have to be hundreds of them. And guess what? After the government realized this particular Back on Track program was helping inmates from returning, because it was making them money too. Imagine, instead of you spending 50,000 naira on each of the inmates that returns to prison for a year, with the Back on Track, you would it was spent 5,000 naira was what was spent on each of the inmates, each of the former prisoners. Just how many percent of that kind of amount? Just $5,000 instead of you spending. Come on, everybody wanted it like, oh, this is safer, this is cheaper, and several other states started using that same process, started emulating that same back on track program. Come on, that is one of the greatest things. So I think United States of America is really lucky to have Kamala Harris as their vice president right now, because I'm very sure so many great things would happen. That was just when she was the district attorney. Should I tell you of some of the great feats? Oh, it's already 14 minutes plus. I have to really go, but I just want to whet your appetite that you should go read about Kamala Harris, because this woman is one person to look out for. And she was talking about her campaign when she was campaigning to become the Attorney General. And I was able to sink into what politics really understand. And I believe every day we all are playing politics, consciously, unconsciously. We just have to make it conscious so that we would know what we're really doing. She said when she was trying to get into the position, she would go to malls. Yes, imagine. She would go to malls, she would stay outside, and because she knew those that would vote for her were just normal people. And what would she do? Do you know what she would do? She would talk to people. She would be like, oh yes, I'm Kamala Harris. She said when she carried out the statistics, she realized just 5% of the people she wanted to vote for her knew her. Imagine that. So she needed to really carry out a lot of work. She would go there, she would talk to them and be like, I'm Kamala Harris. I want to be the district attorney. Not district attorney, Attorney General for California, and I really want you to vote for me. And the place she decided to use as a major place where she used for her campaign was a particular black dominated region in California. She said she was strategic about it because she wanted them to know the matter. At a time when there was so much discrimination, she wanted them to know the matter. And that's what she would do. She would go to places, to malls, to hospitals, so many places she would go. She would say, I'm Kamala Harris, I want you to vote for me. And those ones, she said, sometimes she would talk so much that she would get them, she would be so fucked out. She was going to be tired because she had spoken all day. But guess what? She was able to win that position. She said, and every day women came into the office to come meet her and be like, men, my son was shot down the street just because he was black. My son was shot down the street just because there was a clash between gunmen, and that was it. I don't know who and she entered into another project that she was able to use to change the face of crime right in California. Then I don't want to say so much, but let me just read this just to summarize what I've been saying. Kamala D. Harris is a lifelong public safety and civil rights leader and is currently serving as a U.S. Senator from California. So she wrote this book when she was a senator. So right now she's the vice president. So she began her career at the Alameda County District Attorney's Office. Then was elected district attorney of San Francisco. As California's Attorney General, Kamala prosecuted transnational gangs, big banks, big oil, for-profit colleges, and fought against attacks on the Affordable Care Act. Harris also fought to reduce elementary secondary truancy and pioneered the nation's first open data initiative to expose racial disparities in the criminal justice system, and implemented implicit bias training for police officers. The second black woman ever elected to the U.S. Senate. Hear that. So, okay, maybe I didn't say that before, but she has been the first to do so many things. The first woman to do this, the first woman to do that. That's where the popular quote she said her mother usually tell her that, Kamala, you might be the first to do something, but don't be the last to do it. So I'm sure that she's the first vice president of the United States of America. She won't be the last to do it. More are still coming. Kamala has worked to reform the American criminal justice system, raise the minimum wage, make higher education tuition free for the majority of Americans, and protect the legal rights of refugees and immigrants. Come on. What else do you want to hear about this beautiful woman? This woman that is beautiful, not just in our heart, but she's also beautiful in our deeds. Physically, heart deeds everywhere. She's so beautiful. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm looking at her pictures where she's snapped with her sister. Oh Lord, she has a beautiful sister. You need to see Kamala when she was younger. The name of her sister is Maya, and she will talk about how Maya helped in the journey, how they were, even our pictures from kindergarten. You would see it in the book. Go get the book by Kamala Harris, The Truths We Hold. My name is Mojisola Talks, and you're going to be listening to my voice next time, just in case you're listening on YouTube or you're listening on Anchor or any podcast platform that you'll be listening to this from. Just know next time I'm going to bring something bigger, something greater, something more interesting, something you can think and meditate about, something that would add value to you. And this particular podcast is called Book Info, where we do all the juicy things about books. It's all about books, baby, and I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful week. Or should I tell the guys, have a Kamala week? Or should I say to the girls, have a Kamala week? Bye-bye.